worries. I haven't brought you on yet, just so you know. No one can hear you yet. I want to make sure you're comfortable before we start. Everyone is cool. But hey, I'm going to switch the screen. Chat, are you ready for Ron to come on? I want to see this chat hype before I bring him on. I still have you on mute. You have been one of the most requested guests on the stream. The number of requests I've gotten from bringing you on has been insane. I'll stop teasing everybody. We'll jump right into it. Everybody, welcome Ron to the stream. Ron, I think your audio works now. I'm gonna switch to your screen. I have you on. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for waking up early again.
Always for Ben.
I appreciate you, man. Well, before we get started, for people that may already not know you, do me a favor, quickly do an introduction of who you are and how long have you been hacking for?
Hi everyone, I'm Braun. I am from Hong Kong, and I do bug bounty occasionally, and I've been hacking for 4 years now.
Wow, very cool. How did you get into hacking?
Um, I got started from, I guess, 2015. That year, I was wondering what should I do in my career, and I wasn't sure. At first, I wanted to be a programmer because I thought maybe getting into technology career could help me to learn something new. So that's why I first started in programming. So I first started to learn about Python, and then I think Python wasn't really what I was interested about. And then I found out something called OSCP, Offensive Security Certificate. I don't remember the full name, but it is a online course about online hacking. It is very hands-on. So that's why I tried that. I tried it to do that. And I passed the exam after 1 year, 2016. And then that's where I started to do some hacking.
I'm sorry, what was
And
the exam for again? I missed that. What exam was this?
oh, I'm sorry. The exam is about a offensive security
Oh, the
training.
OSCP.
Yeah, OSCP.
Okay.
The exam is OSCP. Yes.
So you said that you wanted to become a programmer. Did you go to school for computer science or any engineering?
No, that's one thing that I regret very the most, because I could have done it because I graduated at 2013, and then I worked 3 years on an unrelated field of computer science or anything about technology.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why into the second year of my working, I think to myself that I need to change something because I think this is not right for me. So that's why I wanted to learn about Python and learn more about other side of the world, technology.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you hear about bug bounties and hacking? Let's start with hacking first. What was your first exposure to hacking?
Um, my first exposure is probably, I don't remember, but I think the first thing I remember about hacking is OSCP because
Okay.
I I was Googling what field in technology that you can learn faster, you can self-learn it, and you can somehow get be good with it. And then I Googled security. I had two options. The first one is big data, AI, or the second thing is security. At first, I tried a little bit of AI, and I knew that I could not make it work just by myself. So then I tried security, and then I know security, you can work with this by yourself. You don't have to join a company to prove that you are a good security researcher. You can just do it by yourself. But with AI, you can't do it. You need to be at least from what I know.
Right.
Maybe that's not true. Yeah. But then I picked security.
So how did you hear about bug bounties? Like, how did you hear about these platforms and bug bounty programs paying hackers? Was it through people's, tweets? Was it friends? How did you hear about it?
I think it is from a tweet from Orange or a Google search. I don't remember. Um, but it started because of Orange's blog post. He published a blog post at 2016.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote about getting RCE in Facebook.
Yeah.
At the end, I saw him getting 10K for this bounty. Um, and then I found out, hey, you can make money.
Wow, that's
I
cool. So Orange Size blog post was pretty much something that sparked an interest in you and got you hooked. That's very cool.
That's true.
So you said something about your background in programming. Or do you have a strong developer background?
I don't think so. I just self-learned it for 1 year, and that year I wasn't really very good at it. And I didn't even submitted a pull request to some repository, so I wasn't good.
Do you have any? So besides Python, do you know any other programming languages? Do you know JavaScript, Go, PHP,
I
Ruby?
think I know the minimal knowledge. I know as good as um, what Google tells me. Just very basic. I know how to get the parameter, how to get the query parameter in every language, but I don't know anything deeper. So I just
Interesting.
know just a little bit.
So you know enough to get by, but do you think being a good programmer is a requirement for bug bounties? Like people that are new who want to just get started, do you recommend they learn solid programming for at least web?
I think solid programming is not necessary at all because most of the bug I found, they don't even need programming. You need good knowledge,
Yeah.
good logic. That's not programming. Yeah.
So let's talk about a very fun topic that I bring up with you every time we meet. You passed me on Airbnb, and you joined the Airbnb program very late. I think it was 2 years after we got into it, and it's very impressive, man. Like I want to publicly give you kudos for doing that, just because there's a lot of perception in the bug bounty world that if a program has been around for a few years and a lot of top hackers have already looked at it, there aren't going to be any bugs. And clearly you proved that to be wrong, because I have roughly found, maybe 50, 60 bugs on Airbnb myself, and Brett the same thing, where, we made a ton of money from it. And then here you are, you just shot through the entire leaderboard. What's your advice? How did you accomplish it? Was it your unique approach? How did that work?
Um, Airbnb is a little bit. I think I passed you because it started to give more money afterwards. So that's why one of the reasons. So don't blame yourself too hard.
But you still found a lot of bugs though, right? Like you still found bugs that we missed. And that means that your approach was unique, and that's what made you unique hackers, right? What I'm trying to get to is you were a proof that just because a quote unquote top hacker has looked at a program doesn't mean that there's no more bugs. And you clearly have proven that. Um, when you were approaching Airbnb, how did you ignore the fact that this is an old program, bugs may not be there? Did you even bother by that at all? Were you bothered by it?
I think I did at the beginning that, hey, wow, Airbnb is paying a lot and I wanted to get into this game. But, and then I saw your name, Brett's name, and then I was a little bit off about this. No, I don't know how to say it, but a little bit discouraged
Discouraged, yeah.
about this program. Yeah, but then why not take a look? And then I found out Airbnb.com is using Rails to write the whole application. The beauty of Rails app is that it uses ID, numerical ID everywhere. And that's where uh, the bounty hunters love the most because
Yeah.
numeric ID is the best. You don't need to brute force, you just need to change it for testing idols. And this is where I started to get a lot of uh, permission bugs from Airbnb.
Very cool.
So, yep.
That's awesome. Well, on the topic of being the top hacker, you're also a $1 million hacker. You just recently surpassed $1 million not too long ago, a few months ago. Congratulations. How does it feel to be one of the only few hackers who have accomplished this?
Very honored and my pleasure to be one of the hackers. And I feel I feel the journey is really a ride for me, a roller coaster ride for me, because I started slow and then these 2 years just went crazy. 2019, 2020, it went crazy comparing to my first 2 years. Um, yeah,
So
just the bounty has increased so much, and yeah.
yeah, you said that you started hacking and hacking when you started 4 years ago. How did you learn all these different concepts? How did you learn like what tools did you use? What resources did you use um, to become better? Like how to learn all these different things? Did you learn on your own? Did you read a lot of books? Did you how did you learn? For people that are watching this and want to learn and get better.
I think the thing how I got started by learning is from reading the book Web Application Hacker Handbook. And this is where I started. So it is really good because it builds my basic knowledge about security. From that, I can learn so much faster when I read a tweet from someone else, from some security researcher about a security bug on a software. Then I can understand immediately because I've read the book previously. So this is where I got started and how I keep learning. So this is one of the resources that I have been learning from the book. And the other thing is tweets. I follow a lot of good security researchers, Orange Side, File Descriptor, or AlpinaWorks, you, or a lot of other bug bounty hunters that write blog posts about their security findings. So that's where I learned the most.
Wow, very cool. And then for people that are just starting, what advice do you have? If you have to give them one advice to, the first step of getting into bug bounties, what is that to you? Is it reading the books? Is it Twitter? Is it Hacktivity? What is it?
How to keep, yeah, I think you need to keep yourself, don't blame yourself too much. The advice is, I know you want to get into bug bounty, but don't, it is not for everyone. If this is not for you, uh, just keep going. You can get some bugs after a good certain amount of time. You just need to keep your logical thinking and keep working on it, then you can get it.
Very cool. Well, let's get into the hacking portion of all this. So every Sunday I host a live Recon stream, and the focus is about Recon. You mentioned that you don't do a whole lot of Recon, and I disagreed. I said what you do is still Recon. It might be different. So let's talk about it. Let's say you also go to a lot of live hacking events, right? When a new target is given to you that you have never looked at a high level, what are some things you do to get started with hacking on that specific company or corporation? Let's say it's a wildcard scope, start.site.com given to you today. You want to go hack on it. What does that look like? Where do you start? What do you do? Subdomain brute forcing and that sort of stuff. How does that look?
Um, I start looking by logging into the main application to see what does it do, because
Okay.
that's the most important thing for me. I need to know how things work in this application. What is its purpose? Who is the target customer? I need to understand the application like a proper hacker, like how to get into, how to like know their core business logic. Is it a content delivery site? Is it a dating site? The reason why I need to know the purpose is that it helps a lot when I start hacking the application, because that's where I know what should I be looking for. if it is a dating site, I'm sure the private information of the users are not important because they are published anyways, right? But if it is just a content delivery site, CDN, then if you can get the private information of any owner of a CDN, then that is obviously a big deal. So this sounds obvious at first, but I don't think this is very this is not realized in many hackers because sometimes this could not be a bug in one site, but for this particular target that you are doing, it could be a bug. So this actually is the same principle that I was hacking Airbnb because I keep thinking what information should be private and what information should not be private. And it is not just a true and false condition because you have different parties, different roles, different users. So that's why this piece of information should it be appearing to this party at this particular time. So I keep thinking like this. So this is one part of my major hacking, the permission problems. What should be private? What should be public? And who should be seeing it? So this is one part. The second part is the authentication. Authentication is the key. I think this is where I got the most bounty from because usually application these days, they have so many different pieces of code together. And often they are hosted on different subdomains or different part of the application. And here is where the authentication comes in play because they have to integrate with each other. And usually in those integration, they make some mistakes, such as they use OAuth. OAuth is very famous now. Everyone knows about it. That you can mess with redirect URI or blah, blah, blah. So OAuth is one of the things that I will look into, but probably not as much as these days. The second thing is SAML, because SAML is, SAML. If it provides SSO that you can integrate SAML into the application, then you can do a lot of stuff with SAML. SAML is not just about signature wrapping. You can do a lot more with it. So this is the authentication part. And the third part is, no, I usually spend time on these two parts.
Yeah, and then looking at your, I'm going to quickly pull up your HackerOne profile. So looking at your profile, your last 4 vulns were huge payments. 3 of them were, large sums. And the top 2 that I'm looking at is either a full privilege escalation, and then the second one is exactly what you said, is looking at SSO stuff. I'm assuming some SAML or something there, right? But what I want to understand is, how did you practice becoming better at identifying bugs in OAuth, SAML, and that sort of stuff? What is your advice on people that, people like myself, for example? I don't really look for OAuth phones at all. It's because I've never really looked at it. If I want to get started in, finding bugs, like even security for it, where do you recommend? Where do I start? Do I make my own site? Do I go read a book or go to a class? What does that look like?
I think it looks like you will be looking like a lot like a OAuth developer or SAML developer. I usually, what I do is usually go on to the applications developer site, developer.shopify.com, developer.whatever.com. I go to their site and I follow their recommendation, use their SDK to download the SDK and implement on my personal site. And then I develop the OAuth piece by piece by following their advice and see how things actually work in their application, how they intended to work. Because this is the key. If you can bypass their existing security defense, that's another bug hidden in plain sight. Because usually I know bug hunters don't actually implement the developer sites or implement the SDK, and that's where the beauty of the bounty.
Well, from what I understand is you go and implement SAML on your own website for that particular application by reading the documentation and re-implementing it on your own, and then you play with the permissions?
Yes. What? Yes. SAML is one of the examples. See whatever they're using, because sometimes they're using OpenID or using whatever. SCIM. Yes. And about SAML, you can get it for free by signing up free trial on the popular site or OneLogin or Okta, whatever. So that's how I do it.
Wow, very cool. That's interesting. I know that a lot of companies let you build, their SAML integrate, a version of it at least. I've never really looked into it, but it seems to be very lucrative and a very fun aspect of hacking that also gets you to learn some programming and understanding what goes behind building these to be able to identify these bugs.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, because look at the application these days. The big application like Facebook for work, or
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, or maybe Shopify in the future, or GitLab, GitHub, they are offering SAML integration. So
Yeah.
that's why SAML is the future. So it's better to get your hands on it sooner or later. Sooner.
Yeah, very cool. That's very interesting. What tools do you use, man? Like, do you use any tools? Do you rely on any tools that to go back to regularly?
I think one of the tools I use the most is Burp for sure.
Okay.
Burp, I buy professional license because I want to search the request and response. Oh, so that's a very cool check for Burp searching. But I think many people know already is that after you send the password reset link to yourself, you can use Burp search to search for the reset token before you actually click on the password reset link. If you can find it, then yes, you have an account takeover. Uh,
Huh.
uh, yeah, so one of the two is Burp, and the other two, the most of the tools that I use are on the Burp extension, and yeah, web JSON, web buildifier.
So what? So let's take a step back. You said you look for you go do a password request for forgot password, and you search for the link.
Yeah.
Wait, how does that like? I'm trying to understand. What does that mean? Like, so you go to Airbnb.com/forgot password. You do a forgot password request, and then you look through the sitemap to see if you can find the forgot URL you link for it.
No, sorry, I wasn't clear. I sh- I meant I mean when you want to try to test for account takeover, one of the tricks that I always try is that I would sign up and then reset my password on application.com/forgot password, and then you will get an email from your uh, Gmail maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and then you will have the password reset link. And usually in that password reset link, you will have the token of the password reset. And sorry, I wasn't mentioning this before. And I usually check my email on another browser that Burp cannot see. So
Okay.
I have separate privilege. So this is the testing browser that I'm using, and this is a password reset email that I'm checking. So if I can somehow know the password reset token before I check the email by searching the burp, then I can have a account takeover. So this is not just applicable to password reset. You can use this on anything.
Confirmation
When it
email.
involves it,
Yeah.
yes, often about email. Yep.
Wow, very interesting. Okay, that makes sense. That's very cool. Very interesting. So you mentioned you use a lot of Burp. Any Burp plugins that you enjoy using or recommend for other people to use?
I like to use JWT decoder or the
Mhm.
JWS JSON Web Token Attacker, because it allows you to change the algorithm from none to from RSA 256 to none easily. That's one thing that helped me to earn $20, $20,000. Sorry,
$20 and
from
20,000 are a difference. There's a huge difference there.
So that's one thing because you can get lucky with it. And once you get lucky with it, you can get a huge bounty because JWT bypass is huge. So remember, install JWT, a JWS attacker. And then the other thing is JSON beautifier and also SAML decoder.
Okay.
SAML decoder. Yeah. So these three things I use a lot by just converting the manual work to automatic work.
Very cool. Do you use any other tools outside of Burp? Do you do any subdomain reconnaissance, any content discovery, like brute forcing for folders and files, or do you purely go after the main application itself?
I use a tool. The name of the tool is Ben because I asked Ben, show me the subdomains.
I don't know about that. I don't think you need my help there, man. I don't think you really need my help to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the tools. Come on. Yeah. What else? Uh, no, I don't usually do subdomain discovery. When back in the days when I was hacking Yahoo, I used subdomains lister a lot, but not anymore because I feel that's not the way for me. So I stopped using it, and then I use actually not much. Yeah, I
Okay.
can't think of. Yeah.
How much time do you spend on hacking regular? Like when you were, I know that you recently were employed, I think, at a different spot, but before when you were doing bug hunting full time, how many hours do you think you were spending a week on hacking?
Hmm, maybe maybe 5 hours
A
a
day or a
day.
week? Oh, a day.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, not
a
that
lot.
bad. So it's about 40
Yeah.
hours. So we're doing it full time pretty much, like a full time job, 30, 40 hours a week. Very cool. What kept you motivated? Was it purely, was it the challenge? Was it the money? Was it security? Was it a combination of all of them?
All of them, because it is so much fun. I used to play video games a lot, and
Okay,
the way that I'm treating a bounty is that it is a new form of video game. That
true.
you can get real money and you can get real fun, not real fun. You can get some fun out of playing it because it is just like playing video game. They are just in different forms. So this PS4 is now just sitting on my desk without doing anything now.
Wow, you don't play any more video games now. You quit to do bug bounties.
Yeah, actually, I do play sometimes, but not as much.
I've started to do the opposite. I used to not play any video games and do a lot of hacking. Now I spend a lot more time playing video games than I do with hacking. Let's talk about. Are you familiar with the concept of burnouts and imposter syndrome? Let's talk with burnouts first. Do you experience a lot of burnouts when you do your hacking?
Um, Maybe, yeah. I think that's called burnout. I think 2019, the end of 2019, and the start of 2020, I was burning out.
How did you deal
I
with
could
it?
not find any bugs. Yeah.
How,
Video games.
so that's your break. So that's how you de-stress.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, video games again, because at that time I wasn't having fun with Bug Bounty.
Hmm.
I know it can happen that Bug Bounty is just boring. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to see it. Once I lost that fun in Bug Bounty, I go directly to video games or whatever that interests me. So I played a lot of games in that period. I was so happy.
Yeah, I think burnouts are very hard to identify. It could be not finding bugs, could just be not being motivated, just not feeling like hacking. But the biggest problem is also imposter syndrome. I think with the level, especially with your level being at life hacking events, do you deal with imposter syndrome much?
Yes, I think.
Imposter syndrome is where you go to the example. I'll tell you my example of imposter syndrome. When I go to the life hacking events and I see people like you, Franz Rosen, and Irby Sam, Zayed, Smeagol's, they go up on this stage and they talk about these really cool bugs, and I go, Holy crap! I don't even know how they did this. I don't even understand any of this. I may not be even a good hacker, or you don't find a lot of bugs, and then you tell yourself like, I must not be a good enough hacker. I'm gonna find another job or something like that. Do you deal with something like that? It's a mental thing. It's a mental health thing. Do you deal with that at that level as well, and how do you deal with it? How do you cope?
I think so. I used to deal with it a lot. I used to have it a lot back in 2 years ago, I think, because that was my first time going to live hacking events.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw so many people talking so many stuff that I don't even understand. That's where I think imposter syndrome come
Mm-hmm.
in place. But now I get used to it. I know in some areas people are good, in some areas maybe I'm better. So I have to actively persuade myself that this is not true. This is just some mental stuff going on in
Yeah.
your head. Just don't think about it. That's my way.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just curious because like this comes up a lot with people asking like, "Hey, does he also feel imposter syndrome?" People go, "Oh, I don't know anything compared to you," and I'm like, "Dude, how do you think I feel when I talk to other hackers?" Like, everyone feels that way, but it doesn't mean that it's true. It's all in your head, and you can't compare your success to other people's success. People have different lives, different lifestyles, different backgrounds, and life treats us differently. So I kind of wanted to hear what you
Exactly.
do. So let's go back to the hacking. You said you spend 5 hours. You used to spend 5 hours a day. Did you have a routine? Did you wake up at 8 o'clock and then go to work from 9 to 3, do hacking, or did you just hack whenever you felt like it? Did you have a schedule or anything like that?
I think my schedule is mainly about what the day is going on. If the day I have a date, then maybe spend less hours. Or if I find a bug after the first hour, then I would just go and watch a movie because that's how I treat myself. If I find something that I'm satisfied with, then I will just go to watch a movie to reward myself so that I don't have to work anymore on that day. So that's maybe wake up, do my routine of cleaning myself, and then probably start hacking. And until yeah, 5 hours. If I can find anything before the 5 hours finish, then I will just stop working
Very cool.
and do something for fun. Yeah.
Yeah. What made you decide to not do hacking full time anymore and go towards a full time job?
Um, yeah, I think not doing but full time is that I like having something to wake you up every morning
Yeah.
because I know bug bounty can be a different lifestyle. Full time bug bounty could be a different lifestyle that you don't have to be hard to yourself, that you can go easy on yourself. And that's the thing that I'm not good at because I usually go easy with myself. Talking from someone with a weak mental um, health or power, I don't control myself very good. So that's why I need someone or some company, some organization to tell me, hey, you should probably spend time doing this and wake up at this moment and do something. Um, I need some authority to tell me what to do so that I can do better in my life. So uh, that's
That's a fair point. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a full time job and doing hacking on the side. It's just it's cool to hear. I ask people, do you enjoy the full time hacking more than being full time job? Why or why not? I'm the same way. I enjoy doing bug bounties full time. I mean, I'm not at the level that you are with $1 million for bug bounties, but I still enjoy the same thing. Like when you have a job, you have to be awake at a certain time, be ready by a certain time, and you interact with more people. It helps everything better, I think. And you're no longer hacking alone in your own room or in your own house, staring at the same websites over and over. So it makes sense, and also like it shows that you can go from doing bug bounties as a freelancer full time, and even if you don't make $1 million, the experience you get and the things that you learn are very, very transferable to an actual job as a security engineer, offensive security engineer, pen tester, whatever that is.
That's exactly what I'm thinking because it doesn't just help you to be a better at your technical knowledge, but it also helps you to be a better person because you have to talk to people. You need to know how to work with people, and that's what you don't get when you're just working full time on bug bounty.
Yeah, very cool. Do you, by the way, play any CTFs or do any hack the box or anything like that?
I recently played a CTF from my company. That's one CTF I played recently, and apart from that, no CTFs.
Do you think CTFs help with bug bounties at all?
Yeah, definitely, because I can see a lot of good bugs that are from CTF players. It helps a lot when it comes to the technical bugs. I would refer them as the technical bugs, such as the SQL injection or the remote code execution by deserializing the something in the application. So those are the things that CTF could help you in. But what CTF can't help you is that maybe it can help you. I don't know. I don't play it much. Is that the business logic? Because sometimes people can be good at technical bugs, but not good at business logic. And business logic is where I love hacking the most. So maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and it goes back to what you first started saying. When you do a CTF, you don't have to understand what the application is built to do. But if you're doing a bug bounty or a pen test and you want to find critical stuff for that application itself, it helps when you know what the what this business is supposed to do, what is the site's purpose, how does it operate to find those vulnerabilities that you mentioned. Very cool. Well, I want to ask you one last thing. There is So this is the first part. I'm going to end the first part a little bit here, but I wanted to ask you, if you could give one advice, and again, I go back to this, people that are getting just started, one piece of advice, a short advice, what would it be? For someone who wants to become an aspiring $1 million hacker soon, what do you recommend them to do if it's one piece of advice I could take from you?
Don't quit. Keep doing it. You will get there.
Yeah, I think persistence and consistency is key to everything in life. It goes with bug bounties. Very cool. Well, let's jump into the second part of the. If you have nothing to add, I'm gonna make sure I give you the chance. Do you want to add anything else to this before we jump into the second part of the interview?
All good.
Cool. So the second part is for us to have a little bit of fun. So I'm gonna ask you some very basic questions, and you answer them. And the second part of it is I'm gonna give you a word, and you tell me the first thing that comes into your mind. It's a fun game to play. It doesn't have to be serious. So whatever you think of first, just throw it out there and see where it goes.
Okay.
Let's start with what was the first bug bounty program you ever hacked on?
Yahoo.
Okay. Do you remember what your first vulnerability that you found was?
A lot, very much, because it was payment issue. I can buy anything with any price.
Wow, very cool. Do you remember what the bounty for that was?
3K.
Do
I
you
couldn't
remember?
sleep.
Do you remember what you did with your 3K with your first bounty? Did you buy anything special? Do anything fun to celebrate?
No, I'm Asian, man.
Did you save it?
Yes.
Oh, I love this. This is fun. Okay. What's your favorite vuln type?
Idol.
What is your most, again, you can tell me you saved your money. What's the most memorable purchase you have done with your money from bug
Oh
bounties?
man, you're looking at it. Here.
Bill, there, you bought a house,
Yeah,
apartment.
apartment. Yes.
Very cool. That's awesome. Any hackers you collaborate with? You want to give a shout out to?
Cash money, file descriptor. Oh man, Cosman, inhibitor 181, and Dupe Day that I've Dupe Day, and you make me nervous.
Is Anja? You mean Anja as OXACB?
No. I've worked with him a few times, but yeah, but not very much.
Okay. Any hackers you want to collaborate with that you haven't gotten a chance to, you want to call them out here?
I don't know. I'm a little bit intimidated by him. Um, Mark.
Litchfield,
Mark.
dude, Mark is
Yeah,
such a sweet guy.
I don't know.
I can see why you'd be intimidated without talking to him, but once you talk to him, he's such a nice guy. But I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Um, any favorite tools besides Burp Suite?
I know my new favorite tool on Firefox. You have a container because back in the days you need to. Can I make it a long question?
Yeah, yeah, of
Long.
course, man. This is your interview. You can do whatever you like.
All right. Because Firefox, I just found out this new container function. So go to Firefox extension and go search for container, and then you will find different containers for every profile. Okay, I'm making this complicated. So what it does is usually when you want to test for permission problems, you want to have private browser and also the normal browser that you have. But that's not the case anymore with the container extension. You can have 4 different profiles in same browser. So you don't have to switch between private browser or the normal
Yeah,
browser. Yeah, so that's my favorite tool. Yeah, I forgot about that. And thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, and this is the
very cool.
best because you can just fill all the permission problem in just one place, one browser.
Yeah,
No need to switch it.
I just dropped a link to it on Firefox too. That's very cool. That's very helpful for authentication, IDOR, and like those sorts of bugs. Very cool. That's a
Yes,
good. I'm gonna give that a try. That's very awesome.
yes.
Um, let's see. Any hobbies outside of anything that involves computers or a console like an Xbox or PS4? Anything not tech related? Any hobbies of that sort?
PS4? I think PS4 is my
Besides
favorite.
video games, besides video
Oh,
games and hacking, anything that's
damn.
like computer-ish related.
Okay. I think I like going. Ah, because of the lockdown, everyone is having a lockdown. I think.
Yeah,
Um, I've, I like cooking. I started to like cooking because it is fun.
yeah. Did you
Yeah,
cook
very fun.
anything? Did you cook anything interesting recently?
Yes, I think so because I like eating Japanese food, and I just found out a Japanese chef that speaks Mandarin. That's excellent because I can understand Mandarin.
Very
So I
cool.
follow, yes, the best.
So you've picked up some cooking. So next time we see each other in Vegas, you're cooking, right?
Not so much. Yeah, just for you.
Very cool, man. Well, let's jump into the second part. I'm gonna give you a word. You tell me whatever comes into your mind. It could be one word, it could be one sentence, whatever. People thought you said cocaine instead of cooking. No, he's talking about cooking. Stop bringing up cocaine. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, come on. My native English is not English. Native language is not English.
You're doing fine. My chat likes to troll once in a while. They're having a good time with it, though. That's great. All right, let's jump into it. Of course, the first one's going to be Airbnb.
Good money.
What about Shopify?
Peter.
What about Peter himself?
Peter, he is a nice guy and very fun to easy to work with. The best friend that you can have. Yeah.
um, the Web Application Hackers Handbook.
What handbook? Sorry.
The Web Application Hackers Handbook.
Wow. Must read. Must read.
Let's talk about GitLab.
The best.
HackerOne.
HackerOne. Oh wow. It is a little bit complicated for HackerOne because in Hong Kong we used to only have 2 main TV programs. One is TVB, the other one is ATV. And I would refer HackerOne as TVB, the better one.
All right, I'll leave it at that. Um, Verizon Media.
Mm, good life hacking event. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask you. The next one is life hacking events.
Please, life hacking event is friends. I can think
Very
friends.
cool. I like that. That's a very good answer. I really like that. That's very cool. What about collaboration?
Collaboration, love and hate relationship, because once you get into collaboration, you can sometimes argue with your teammates, but you also love them. Remember that,
Last but not least, SAML.
Samuel. Just learn it and do it yourself. Try make it hands-on. You have to try to do it manually to understand fully how does it work. So do it, learn
Very
it.
cool. I'm gonna open up the chat for 5 minutes of question. I saw a question that I really liked. I don't know who asked it, but the question was: in an alternate universe, if you weren't hacking, what would you be doing instead?
Wow. I assume don't get realistic to this answer because the question is not realistic. I want to be a scientist. I want to be a scientist that I can go, I can work on some project about a spaceship going to the
Yeah,
moon. Oh, no, moon is boring. Maybe going to Mars. Yeah,
moon is
because that's
boring.
what yeah. My major is physics, so that's why.
Wow, very cool. I didn't know. That's very cool. Physics sounds hard, dude. That sounds like a really, really hard major.
Yeah, same thought. I think physics is very hard as well, so that's why I quit physics.
um, let's see. So one of the questions that usually gets asked by one of my mods, Ash. I don't know if you're here. Ash usually asks, "Where do you think the bug bounty community and bug bounty industry is going to be headed to in the next 3 to 5 years?"
Wow, I think it is going to become much more bigger than now because everyone is jumping on board on bug
Mm,
bounty, and also it will become a lot more healthy than it used to be. Because I know when I first got started, the culture is not as good as now. Because people are still used to still arguing about the people should not do bug bounty. Bug bounty is exploitation of hackers. But now I don't see this conversation as much now. So things are getting healthier. I assume it will keep doing it for the next few years. So
yeah, I agree. I think more and more big corporations are going to be inclined to working with hackers, and there's going to be a lot more for hackers to hack on, especially after everything goes away with the lockdowns.
yep.
How does OSCP help you with hacking in real world? Does it help much? Does it give you a little bit of a boost? How does that work?
That's a brutal answer to this. I don't think it helps as much as the book, Web Application Handbook, Web Hacker Handbook, because it teaches you how to do OS level hacking, but not
Mm,
as much web level hacking. It so if you want to get into web bounty, then go read the book. If you go want to go ahead to learn about security, go to OSCP because OSCP provides a full coverage of hacking, but web bounty usually focus on web or mobile, but not everything. OSCP, everything almost.
yeah.
So
For someone who has a really good background in development, but they're really new to bug bounties, what do you think they should first start with learning? What bug type or what topic should they learn first?
ah, cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting XSS is the best because it is easy to understand and it is easy to find. Not easy now, but it used to be very easy. And the impact that you can go with it is infinite because you can easily achieve account takeover with cross-site scripting, and you don't know how to do it at first, but as you keep learning, you will learn how to do it.
Any tips on finding XSS or IDOR? Any particular tips you were gonna give them for anybody that's watching this?
XSS, I remember Cosmin talked about a very good extension on Burp that could help you to find XSS, especially reflected XSS. That's one tip that I would give the audience. And the other is remember, XSS is not just about reflection XSS. It is also about um, the anchor XSS because I find that a lot. When you have a link that you can embed in the site, say HTTPS something.com, replace HTTPS to JavaScript, and you will find a lot of XSS.
So do JavaScript dot / instead of HTTPS.
Yes, just keep the form intact. Don't break the regist except for the HTTPS because that's the application usually forget to check. They remember to check the format, the regist of the URL, but forgot to check the scheme.
Yeah, I think one of the companies that we both hack on, not gonna say who, had a lot of issues with that. Last question. Somebody said they saw your bugs on Shopify. There's some really amazing bugs. And obviously Shopify has been around for a few years. What was your mentality when you went to Shopify? What did you do to achieve these bugs? Was it, you set yourself up to find a particular vuln type? Was the goal to get an account takeover? Like, how did you go into those to find these big bugs?
My mentality was seeing Cash Money Tanner got so successful in Shopify. I was just jealous. I can't be like this. I need to find something just like him. And then I go to Shopify and revisit the bug he found. And then because I wanted to find the same type of bugs because that's interesting and that the impact is very large. So I wanted to bypass the email verification, and I did. So that's the mentality: bypass email verification.
Very cool. Well, yep. I think that's all the question. Hey, I want to say thank you so much for joining, man. I seriously appreciate you being here. I know we went a little bit back and forth to figure this out, but again, I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge with us and being open to give us some tips. Chat, if you don't mind, let's spam the chat with some emotes for Ron Chan, another hacker millionaire on HackerOne, someone that I enjoy working with, and I know I give you a lot of shit for passing me on Airbnb, but I do actually enjoy working with you, man. I appreciate everything you have done so far, and I thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everyone.
We'll talk soon. I hope you stay safe, and I hope you have a good day.
You too. Thank you very much.
Bye. All right. I know we got here late, but I'm so happy that Ron joined us. It's really, really cool. For those of you who don't know, I've harassed Ron a lot about Airbnb, but it's all in good fun. He's one of the hackers I actually do look up to. He's very, 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 very smart and very, very creative when it comes down to bug bounties and hacking. That's it for today. The video for this interview will go up live on YouTube sometimes this week, hopefully tomorrow or the next day. I have to get to it and upload it, but it will definitely go live. But for now, I think I'm done. I'm gonna look and see if I can find somebody to host. I think TryHackMe itself is online right now, so we're going to go raid them and we're going to show them some love. So if you don't mind, please stick around. If you're new to the stream, please make sure you join the Discord channel. I will put the link down below. If you have a Twitch Prime subscription and you're not using it, hook me up, support the channel. And if you don't, I still appreciate it. No worries. Again, I'm gonna hop off. I'll be around on Discord for a little bit. So if you want to hang out and chat, I'll be there. If you're a subscriber, you have your own channel, make sure you use it. I check those usually more often. But for now, we're going to go raid, TryHackMe, stick around for a little bit. Let's show them some love. And when we get in, spam with some emotes from my channel. We're going to raid them in 2, 1. Let's go. Peace.